Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. You are here live with us at Co-working Live with Red Worldwide. And I'm Dr. Patience Jackson Rose, and we are so excited that you are here with us today. And so, with that said, we're going to jump into our Focus Friday topic. Okay, we've been working on decision making excellence. And last week, we talked about the psychology of decision making, and today we're going to really start working on the internals of decision making and what it means for us to make faster decisions. How can we make decisions faster? Well, we're going to really talk about that today and understand, what excuse me, what we need to do, to really present everything that we have, in our decision making, all of our skill set, putting it all together, the things that we've learned so that we have the ability to, move forward in our decision making excellence. And we want to really look at the different frameworks because we talked about some of them from time to time, but we want to look at some different ones today. So if you'll bring up my slides for me, so that I have the ability to share with the group who is here with us today. And we can just really kind of jump into what we're doing. Okay. So, when you're looking at making a decision and thinking about decision making excellence, I want you to have these three things on your mind. The first thing is that decision making excellence encompasses clarity, having a clear understanding of the problem, the goals, and the available options. And then I want you to be really thinking about the confidence in the decision making, trusting your own judgment, knowing that you've considered all the relevant factors and that you are moving forward based on that knowledge. And then, of course, the speed, making the decisions in a timely fashion without sacrificing the quality. Okay, because that's going to be key. A lot of times we make decisions and we're able to make them quicker, but at what quality? Okay. And so we don't want to sacrifice quality just for the sake of time, but we got to understand that there is a real benefit to be able to make a fast decision when possible. So we want to look at the competitive advantage. When we are able to make decisions quicker, it allows us to capitalize on opportunities that other people in our industry may not be able to and adapt to the market conditions as they change. It's very important that you're thinking, in the realm of, what does it mean for me to have the competitive advantage, having this unique edge, that I can actually jump into something, quicker and take advantage of that share of the market because I got there first. Okay. And just saying. All right. And then increase productivity. When you're able to make a faster decision, they oftentimes will lead to a more efficient use of your time and the resources, and it results in higher productivity. And then lastly, improved risk management. When you are able to make a faster decision, you have what we call agility, and we did a whole couple of sessions on agility. It keeps your organization able to respond to unexpected events and minimize the risks or the potential risks. And so there's something called the OODA Loop Model, and so we want to take a look at the OODA Loop Model because I think it will give you some options here. So OODA is an acronym, and it stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. So let's kind of take a look at what that could mean for you. Well, in the observe phase of OODA, you're gathering information from your environment, figuring out, you know, what it is that you could be doing or what you need to do based on, what is happening. Okay. And you're looking at your own environment in your business, as well as environmental issues that might be in the industry, at large. And then you want to analyze that information and formulate a model mentally, okay, based on the information that you observed, that you collected. You're going to look at it and formulate this model inside of your mind as to how you could, see or perceive, what is happening. And then you're going to choose a course of action, decide, based on the orientation, based on the observation that you have, and then you act, then you implement. Okay, so OODA is really simple. It's simple to use. Observe, orient. Make your change in what it is that you're going to do inside your mind first, and then decide on how you're going to move forward, and then you implement. Okay, and that's literally what you want to do. Now, there are some pros and cons of the OODA loop, and so we want to kind of look at the pros and cons. Well, the pros are it does encourage rapid analysis, and it improves your ability to adapt, and it can lead to a decisive action. However, it can also sometimes be overly simplistic, and it can lead to a hasty decision because of the simplicity. And then sometimes it's just not suitable for complex situations. Okay, but there are other options. And so we're going to look at the 6 thinking hacks approach. And I like this one because, there are some very huge benefits to it. So let's take a look at the 6 thinking hacks approach. Well, the white hat focuses on neutral facts and data. The red hat considers the emotions and feelings. The black hat identifies potential risks and problems. The yellow hat highlights the benefits and opportunities. And then the green hat focuses on creativity and new ideas and encourages brainstorming and exploring alternative solutions, while the blue hat summarizes and controls the thinking process, helps to ensure that the team stays on track and makes effective decisions. So how do we apply that? So let's look at how we can apply these 6 thinking hats. I love the graphic for this. It's like, you have options, right? Okay, so the white hat, you're thinking about what are the facts? What are the facts? Okay. The red hat, when you put that one on, what's your gut feeling? What is your gut telling you? The black hat, what is our potential drawback? What could be the issues that are surrounding the situation? But putting on the yellow hat, what's the potential benefits? All right. How will this really benefit us in the future? And then the green hat, what are some creative solutions? And then the blue hat, what's the overall process for doing this? Okay. So using the 6 thinking hats, you can really, make, I would say, some very, good choices. I mean, informed decisions. You have all of the necessary pieces in these 6 thinking hats, and you can utilize those to, really get a concrete, informed process going forward. Okay, let's look at some of the other decision-making models. The decision tree. This is a branching structure that helps you visualize some possible outcomes. And then, of course, there's a SWOT analysis that examines the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then, of course, there's the Pareto analysis that identifies the most significant factors influencing a suggestion or a decision, I should say. So let's look at what those each look like. So the decision tree, basically, there's a graphical representation of some possible outcomes and choices. And then there's a way for you to analyze the consequences of these particular possible outcomes and choices, visually evaluating the potential results of the different options, right? You're paying attention to what potentially could happen. And then it gives you the ability to systematically process, the decision, so you can identify the most favorable course of action based on what's on that tree. So I like the decision tree. It's also a very good way, just like the six thinking hats is very succinct and quaint, and you can, get to a decision quickly by using it. Then, of course, there's a SWOT analysis. You have your internal strengths and weaknesses, identifying them within the organization so you can kind of see, where you are and what could possibly happen based on that. The external opportunities and threats, give you the potential opportunities and the potential threats in the environment, the external environment that you're in. And so you have the within and then you have the without, right? The external and the internal. And then, of course, now you have the ability to make an informed decision because you have the ability to see what your strengths and weaknesses are as opposed to what the external opportunities and threats might be that you're facing. Okay. And then, of course, the Pareto analysis is really, the 80-20 rule, right? You can take a look at this. The 80-20 rule shows that 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. And this focuses on those vital few factors that drive remarkable results. And I want you to be thinking about the fact that, when we're looking at this from this perspective, we have the ability to see kind of how that 80-20 plays out in our company. 80% of the customer complaints may stem from just 20% of the issue. By addressing those vital few, the team can significantly improve satisfaction amongst the customers. Let's look at something else. The 80-20 rule shows that 20% of the causes drive 80% of the effects. So focusing on that vital minority maximizes the result. It really does. Okay. Now, when should you use different frameworks? Well, of course, having options like we just brought forth, really does change, a lot of things for people because they sometimes when you have too many options, you don't know exactly what to do. But if you're going to use the OODA loop, it's really best when you are in a fast-paced, dynamic situation with limited time for analysis. So if you've got to make a decision right now and you don't have time to analyze what's going on, then the OODA loop is going to be the way to go. The six thinking hats is really suitable for collaborative decision making, exploring multiple perspectives. That's going to be what you use in that particular situation. Okay, so when you have the options and the time, six thinking hats probably would be a go-to for a lot of people because you have a collaborative situation, not just a lot of time, but you got people, okay, people resources. They really do help you when you have the six thinking hats option moving in your organization, your organizational decision making. But then the decision tree, I would say, would be for complex decisions with many possibilities. When you have many possibilities, then, the decision tree will definitely be your go-to. Okay. So, what are the keys for mastering decision making? Well, some of these keys we talked about last time when we talked about decision making excellence. So, let's jump into it. Self awareness. Understanding your own biases, strengths, and weaknesses are going to be key when you are mastering decision making, especially fast decision making. You really need to understand if you've got some cognitive biases going on. You've got to know what those are, and you need to be able to address them so that when it's time for you to make a quick decision, you're not playing around in that area of fixing whatever it is that's going on with you, self-awareness wise, while you're trying to make this fast decision. And then also being able to practice, regularly engage in decision-making exercises so that you can become more proficient at it and more proficient at it quickly. right? And then lastly, of course, seeking the feedback from others to improve your decision making process, because that's going to be key in helping you to become, again, more proficient and to be able to speed your time factors up. All right. So these are really the important things to be mastering when we're looking at, creating the opportunities for our decision making. And I want you to be thinking about, as we're at the end of this particular session today, but I want you to be thinking about what you can do to practice. How can you, position yourself so that you use certain things to help speed your decision making excellence? Because it is going to be very important for you to remain in a position where, you are constantly thinking of what is the most important thing, in your organization, when it comes to creating models for making faster decisions. You don't just want this to be something that you're working on. You want to make sure that other people who are in positions to make decisions don't end up taking weeks and weeks and weeks to finally decide how things are going to be done. It is important for them to instead use some of these strategies that we talked about today so that you can help them and yourself, and making appropriate decisions quick enough for your company to really benefit from having that, unique value proposition and being able to have the competitive edge of getting to the decision faster. Well, this has been Dr. Patience Jackson Rose with Co-working Live with Red Worldwide, and we will see you again next time.